I think we're going to be boarded.
Oke, selamat pagi.
Mau kemana? Where are you going? Okay.
We are Matt and Amy, and together with our 37-foot yacht Florence, we are circumnavigating the world and sharing our adventure along the way.
We're just leaving the Mentawai Islands and heading to Padang. It's about 70 miles, so we're sailing overnight because it's too far for us to sail in one day. It's very unusual out here, but we've actually got wind, and we're hoping that this is going to stay with us all night and that we won't get any thunderstorms like we did on the way out here. But it's very difficult to predict the weather in this part of the world, and we tend to get thunderstorms at night, so we never really know what's going to happen.
Just put the wind vane on, and it's been so long since we've actually used it that I've rigged it up back to front. So instead of going that way, it went the other way and nearly tapped the boat. But a little bit rusty. I haven't done this for a while. That's better. It works better, much better that way round.
We've actually made this trip a few times now because we have to go back to Padang once a month in order to extend our visas, but it's actually really nice to get the opportunity to sail offshore like once a month. It allows us to just make sure that everything on the boat is working, and this is the only time that we get to enjoy the sunset at sea and a sunrise at sea, so we obviously don't get much sleep, but it's actually a really nice sail.
Just feel really happy and free to be at sea and sailing again. We don't often get these wind conditions in Indonesia. It's normally kind of 0 to 5 knots or 35 knots in a squall, and right now we've got 12 to 15 knots, and we're actually on a reach. It's coming from the perfect direction as well. It's just beautiful sailing, and it's really building up my excitement for getting offshore and sailing across the Indian Ocean to the Seychelles, which, because we've only got about 1 month left now. We're going to extend our visas for 1 more month, and then it's time to check out and head across the ocean, which will be a lot more than one night. 2,800 or 2,900 miles, probably take us 2.5 to 3 weeks, but we're both feeling really ready to get our journey moving on and voyaging across an ocean again, because it's been a really long time.
We're back to dinner in a cup. One-handed dinner and a roll.
I don't know how I cope with the roll as well. Freshly baked on-board rolls. Thank you, Amy. Delicious.
Sounds a bit burnt.
It's not burnt.
We're pretty much straight into our night watches for an overnight sail like this. So I take the first off watch and sleep down below, and a reach is actually like my favourite point of sailing for sleeping, because the boat heels over slightly and it kind of tips you into your bunk rather than rolling and throwing you out, so you don't even need a lee cloth. It's definitely the most comfortable point of sailing for sleeping, I think.
Until we get a thunderstorm.
Yeah, but it's rare to get any sleep anyway on this passage.
We were right to appreciate the wind while we had it. It died as the sun went down and left us motoring through the night to Padang. Thankfully, the lightning storm stayed on the horizon.
We're not big fans of motoring, but we had no other option here. However, our spirits were kept high throughout the night by multiple dolphin visits, and then again they came to say hello in the daylight this morning.
Well, here we are back in the busy world. Like 10 big ships here, proper cargo port. And we're going just around to the next bay, which is a bit safe to anchor Florence. But yeah, ready to go and visit the big city and revisit bureaucracy and paperwork.
It's been a while since we updated you on our visa issues, having been stuck in Indonesia since the very start of the pandemic. And we were having a lot of problems with our e-visa. To get that extended, we needed a local sponsor. And once we had that local sponsor in place, the process itself is actually fairly straightforward, just incredibly time consuming. We have to visit the immigration office every month in order to extend our visas, and the process itself takes between 3 and 4 days. So by the time we travelled to and from the office, it was taking a week out of every month just to extend our visas. For each extension, we need an original signed letter from a sponsor who has a local address and ID card. Although Indonesia is technically open and we're allowed to travel within the country, the fact that the visa extension takes a week out of every month and the fact that we are unable to change our sponsor for the visa means that we're limited to travel really around the Padang area. Although it's really time consuming, it's been great to know where we stand with our visas, and it's all been worth it to know that we're legally able to stay in the country until we can move on at the end of cyclone season to the Seychelles. We've recently decided that our passports can actually just stay at immigration and we will pick them up the next time that we do our next extension. And that's saving us not only a trip into the city, which is an hour away, but also it's saving us 3 days sat at anchor here in Bungus, where the anchorage isn't as good as elsewhere.
So with our visas extended, we did a provisioning run on the way back from immigration and set off for the far more appealing anchorage at Cubadak, just 12 miles down the coast. Only for this to happen.
Selamat pagi.
Mau kemana? Well, that was a bit different. We're just motoring out from our anchorage here in Bungus, and a police boat came herring up behind us. I thought they were just going out to somewhere else, and then I suddenly saw them putting fenders over the side and thought, I think they're coming to see us. And we're like the only yacht here, with the only boat moving. And so it's a little bit worrying, but all they wanted to do was give us some more face masks and take pictures of giving us face masks. And they're all very friendly, and that was fine. But you're never really sure what's happening when a police boat just comes herring up to you.
Pleasure make masker.
A masker.
Okay, take care.
Yeah, they're friendly. They're all really, really friendly. It's just us being a little bit like, what's happening? I just said to Amy, Amy was down below, I just said, I think we're going to be boarded. And Amy was like, what? But that's all good.
Yeah, I was just in the middle of making us some brunch. That was a bit of a shock.
Over the last few months, we've kind of spent our time bouncing between the Mentawai Islands and here at Cubadak, changing over every time we need to come in and extend our visas. And we've become really good friends with Marco and Dominique, who own and run the resort here. It's a really sheltered anchorage and a great place to come and do some work on the boat when we need to get things ready for the next ocean crossing.
If you watched our other videos, you'll also know that Marco taught us to scuba dive here. Now that we're in our last extension period, we're going to spend the next few weeks getting Florence up to scratch and ready for a 3,000-mile ocean crossing. And that's going to be a lot of work. There's always time for a welcome distraction from that work.
Marco says that there are still loads of dive sites in the area that we haven't yet visited. So today we're going to take a break from the boat jobs and try to do 2 dives in one day. But I think it's going to be a really hot day, so I can't wait to get in the water.
Okay, it's will fuel a bit. Your mask pins.
Mask and fins? Yeah.
We have the magic stick, we have the buoy.
A short boat trip took us round to the other side of Cubadak Island to where Marco had a GPS position marking our first dive site of the day.
As well as gorgeous soft corals and a huge number of fish, there are more of these huge barrel sponges at this site than we have ever seen.
Although they're classed as a sponge, the barrel sponges actually have a hard, stone-like texture.
The sponges can reach sizes of nearly 2 meters across, but take many years to get to that size. In fact, it's thought that some have survived for over 2,000 years. Marco's been diving at this site for over a decade and measured a growth of just 30 centimetres on some of the smaller sponges in that time, which makes the damage caused by this fishing net even more heartbreaking.
Marco found and tried to release a triggerfish caught in the net, but it was too far gone. Those barrel sponges were really something to see. But our second dive today is going to be very different. Marco is taking us on a night dive, and this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time since I did a night snorkel back in Fiji, and the reef just comes alive at night. It's so vibrant in the colours, so I'm really looking forward to this. So now we're just waiting for the sun to go down before we jump in the water.
I have to say, diving in the dark isn't something that has ever really appealed to me. I'm not sure that I'll be able to shake the feeling of there being a shark or a crocodile lurking in the darkness when all I can see is what's in front of my torch beam. But I don't think I'm going to ever get an opportunity as good as this, somewhere that we know with a dive master that we know and trust. So I think if I'm going to do it at some point, then today is the day. Yeah, but I'm feeling a bit nervous about it.
Easy profile. Night dive, it's always easy profile. So if you don't feel it, if you don't like it, you just show me the sign. Hand up, and we go up.
Yeah.
No shame. Some people don't like it. I love it. I hope you are going to love it. There is a lot of colors. No crocodile, no sharks. Nothing is going to come from the abyss to grab you.
Not yet.
But you can feel disorientation because it's very difficult to spot up and down. We are going to start the dive with a little bit of light, but after 15 minutes we are going to be in the dark, and there is no moon, so we cannot have the help of the moonlight.
You can see from my face that although I wanted to do this, I wasn't entirely comfortable.
As the light faded, all that we could see was each other's torch beams and the small circle of reef life that they illuminated.
At night, the coral really comes to life. The polyps come out of their skeletons to feed, stretching their stinging tentacles to capture creatures that are floating by. Instead of focusing on the blackness surrounding us, I found that my focus was totally drawn towards the amazing creatures in my torch beam.
These electric flame scallops, or disco clams, flash like a disco ball reflecting our dive lights.
Further along the reef, we came across the turtle dormitory. At night, turtles wedge themselves into the reef to sleep, often returning to the same sleeping spot every night. They can sleep for up to 7 hours at a time before needing to surface for a breath of air. They have no eyelids to protect their eyes, so we tried not to point our torches at their heads and startle them. Diving at night is an awesome experience. Everything on the reef just looks so different in the dark. I'm really glad that we did that.
Unfortunately, the footage that we can take doesn't really do it justice. We've only got a GoPro for underwater footage, which isn't very good in the low light at night, and we don't have a powerful enough light to shine behind it to really show what it's like down there.
Yeah, but diving has been such a great distraction from the boat jobs, but now we really need to start getting Florence ready for our upcoming ocean passage.
Yeah, time's ticking away, and we've only got about 2 weeks left now before we're checking out the country and setting out on a 3,000-mile passage, so we really need to knuckle down. Next time is going to be all about preparing a 37-foot yacht for a 3,000-mile ocean passage.
Without chandleries or marinas or any other facilities. So.
Oh yeah, only using what we've got on board.
Yeah.
We want to say a huge thank you to everybody who supported us, either via the PayPal link on our website or via Patreon. Whether it was to buy us a beer or contribute to upgrading our camera equipment, it all makes a huge difference to our ability to continue sharing this adventure.